Game we have on the cards here, obviously for various reasons. We'll get to Thomas Frank in just a moment. I'm wondering about Manchester City, though, because that gap is down to 4 points now. We know they can do it, but will they do it?
I still think Arsenal will do it. I really do. I do. I just think that this is the year they get over the line. I just think that the only box they need to tick is getting over the line box. I know they've been bridesmaids for the last 3 years. And it hasn't been good, and everyone's always going to point a finger at them and say you're going to bottle it, you know, when it starts getting nervy. I think they have got nervy very early. I don't think that's their only problem. I mean, they don't have a problem. I keep sticking up for their goal score. The second highest scorers in the league. You know, from open play, yeah, it doesn't matter how you score goals, you know. You still get the same amount of goals for a set piece or an open play goal. So I just think everyone's fit now. Calafiori played in midweek as well. Everyone's fit. They've even had the luxury to let Wanyeri out to Marseille on loan. They will have enough in their squad, and I think it's a manager's job now to lead the way. We was in the same position when I was at Blackburn, but we had a manager who'd been there and done it before, and he gave us that confidence, and he just led us in that path. He used to say to us, don't leave anything to chance every single game, because it will start getting anxious towards the end of games. Go out on the front foot and blow teams away. Arsenal have the personnel to be able to do that. And if they do that, there's a few, if they go 2s and 3s up, then you get some, then the Ole start and it's brilliant. You know, everyone feels nice and comfortable, and it takes that anxiety away from you. You can't have an anxious game every single time, especially when you're at the Emirates. And the fans want it so much. They booed at the end of the game. I thought it was a bit strong, that, but I can understand why they're doing it, because the frustration of coming up short time and time again. And I say it again, if they do get over the line this year, they're going to be the force to reckon with for the number of years to come.
I'm not sure how we got onto Arsenal, though. I was asking you about Manchester City, because, you know, we're previewing the Spurs game.
Well, I think Arsenal are going to win the league. I don't think City will win the league. So I was saying they won't catch them. They will not catch them.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's a time for Arsenal. I just think it's their time. If you don't want to be chased by any team, it's Man City, because they've been there and done it. Obviously, the manager's fantastic, and they have strengthened in the areas where they've got injuries with Diaz and Guardiola, with Mark Gay, and they've got the goal power now, Semenya. But I just got a feeling for Arsenal. I really have, and you can never write City off because of the history, but I think they're going to come up short.
You started the show talking about the transformative effect that Semenyo could have and Guehi could have. Do you not think that new energy could actually make this a much closer title race than it looks?
Oh, absolutely. It wouldn't surprise me at all if they did win it. You know, it wouldn't be a shock. But I just think maybe Arsenal have got that strength in there, and maybe it's their year. I'm just thinking might be a change and a pleasant change for the Premier League, you know, moving forward. But Man City are so dominant, but you can't rule them out, because they are so good, and they have got a genius manager.
And they do have that experience and that know-how, as you've just mentioned a couple of times now. Darren, I guess the question then about their defensive vulnerabilities and bringing in Guehi, if they do manage to go on and win the title, we'll probably be talking about that as one of the scoops.
Absolutely.
In the transfer window.
Listen, in every good defence you need a leader, and Guehi is that man. He's intelligent, he's quick, he puts his body on the line. You played with Colin Hendry, you know just how good and important it is to have somebody like that. And, you know, City so far this season, because obviously last week they beat Wolves and kept a clean sheet, you can't really use Wolves as a barometer. This has been more indicative of what's been happening to Manchester City so far this season, the space that attackers have been able to find, the gaps in their defence, the individual errors, players switching off at the wrong time and not smelling danger. When you've got a world-class keeper and a world-class midfielder, you need somebody who is high class in defence to actually organise and lead and take responsibility. And for me, Guehi is that man.
You asked me about Liverpool, about protecting the back players. When they've had injuries like that, they need protection. You know, wide open, you see with them goals there, just from counter-attacking moves, just walk through their midfield. Rodri's not the same. I know it takes a while for that injury to get better. I think he's a wonderful player. I love him. Nico Gonzalez needs to get back. They need a double pivot in there as soon as possible. Reinders is not playing. O'Reilly's playing instead of him in there. Some of the team selection, which is hard to question, Pep.
What's the benefit of a double pivot?
It gives you more protection in front. and more control of the game, like I mentioned, especially with players like that who can handle the ball. Because even in possession, they haven't got to worry. Just roll it 5 yards into the midfield. Rodri get turned. He just controls the game. Then your wide players can get themselves forward. When you control the midfield and you have time and you're confident that your midfield player is in control of the ball, like Rodri and like Nico Gonzalez will give them, then it gives your fullbacks the opportunity to push forward and push. And otherwise, like Man United did at that time, they're wide open. They just stayed forward, you know, and their wing-backs were causing them all sorts of problems. So gives them more control, and that's what Pep craves. He wants control in the game. They're very good at counter-attacking, but he prefer to have control of the football all of the time because he feels if you take the ball away from the opposition, invariably you win the game.
I want to bring it round to Spurs because they are struggling in the Premier League. They've been struggling at home. And yet, as you reminded us, in the Champions League, not the same story. Just how much pressure is Thomas Frank under realistically? What do you think happens with him?
Well, he's going game to game at the moment, isn't he, Thomas? We're all saying, well, if he loses this one, if he loses that one. He hasn't lost his job to now, so I think that the hierarchy at Tottenham do not want to sack him. They don't. It's been a dreadful run. You know, he shouldn't be 14th in the Premier League. You know, when you're losing at home to your rivals in West Ham, you know, it's a really poor result. They got 1 foot in the Championship, West Ham. You know, so it is very, very poor.
I think that West Ham result was the worst of all of their defeats so far this season, given where West Ham are, given where Tottenham finished last season. And I'm not talking about their position in the Premier League. I'm talking about the fact that they were able to win the trophy that put them in the Champions League. Their aspirations for this season had to have been higher because it was a big gamble to sack the man that won the trophy that put you in the elite European competition. The fans would have been on the club's backs and there would have been an expectation that Frank would come in and do better than he has done. The numbers say everything there. The thing about Frank as well, and I've covered Spurs for the best part of 20-odd years, is that when you go to a club the size of Spurs, you have to speak in a manner befitting of Spurs. You have to approach games in a matter that the fans expect. And the fans, and I did a Spurs podcast the other day, there were hundreds and hundreds of fans on there, and their feeling is that the club are just not playing on the front foot. They're not they're not playing with enough personality. They're worrying too much about the opposition. Then there isn't enough protection for the back four. They can't win games at their own stadium, which used to be a staple of any Premier League manager who took charge of Tottenham Hotspur. And there is a big body of opinion that he should be replaced by, say, a Mauricio Pochettino. Listen, they gave PSG a real fright in the Super Cup last August, but those summer nights are a long way away from us now.
If the results are not coming, you cannot play with a handbrake on at Tottenham. You can't. You know, and if you do and you get results, then they will suffer it. But if the results are not there and the performances are not there and the entertainment value is not there, they won't suffer it. They will not suffer it. So he's under a huge amount of problems.
Let's see how many more Greece references Darren can get into the show, shall we?
Having said that, this is a very good game for him. They always do well against City, always.
Yeah, it's very interesting how that happens. You mentioned something important about the playing on the front foot. Their main source of creativity, two of their main sources have been unavailable for Spurs.
Yeah, Kulusevski and Maddison.
Yeah,
huge miss. But every team's got injuries. You know, I mentioned that the only team who hasn't got injuries is Arsenal. They're the team who are at the top of the league. But they've missed them. They really have. But let's face it, them two players still played when they were 17th last season in the league as well. So they're not world beaters. It's just that when they're not playing and the team's been so poor, you're looking for a bit of creativity. And them two players have got that. But they still go out and they're signing players without creativity. You know, Conor Gallagher, in my opinion, they got 3 or 4 Conor Gallaghers in that squad, and they went out and bought another one because he fits the price tag.
Do you agree with that? I think Conor reminds me of you. Vocal, a leader, combative, a really good eye for a pass. I think I like him better than Bentancur. I think Bissouma's not the player we thought he would be. I like Conor Gallagher in a Tottenham shirt, and I think if he's got even more quality around him, he could be better for
I like Conor Gallagher, I like Bentancur, I like Bergvall, I like Sarr, I like Paulinho. I like them all, but not all together. You need a cocktail. You can't have them all together. They're all too samey. You know, no one a bit different, no one a bit of flavour. You know, so if Conor Gallagher was a 1 in 3 goal scorer, I would say, OK, he's like a new Frank Lampard who's going to anticipate, get in the box, score goals. But he's not. He's a 1 in 6 man, just like Paulinho, just like Bergvall. So It's a poor signing. It's a poor signing, not because he's a poor player. It's a poor signing because that's not what they needed. Go out and get Douglas Luiz. It costs you nothing, but it gives you that control, what I'm talking about, of the player in the midfield area. Looks like it, yeah.
Well, we are going to move on to